I'm sorry, or I'm not sorry, but how can you bring religion in on this? Thank you for this bold comment. So I'll be happy to educate you in this video about some of the scientific data, how prayer and religiosity can help with mental health. This video will show how it can help with several different mental health conditions, including but not limited to addiction recovery, depression. Living according to good moral values can help people persevere through the challenges in life. I'm not saying people should just pray and forget about seeking mental health or seek treatment. No, if someone comes to me in my office, I'm most likely going to offer them a medication because that's what they're coming to me for. Although if they are Christian and not attending services, maybe I'll suggest if you attend the religious services, that might help with your overall health and well-being. Studies show that people who attend religious services, their depression is going to heal faster. It's going to be less severe. Their mental health is going to be overall better. It has a sense of community and well-being and support. If they don't feel comfortable talking with me or a therapist, they can talk to their priest or pastor. That's what the data shows. Now again, our bodies are very complicated. Our minds are very complicated. We don't understand fully what goes on. So in other words, a lot of it has to do with faith to begin with. A lot of it has to do with faith and trust. And so ignoring that or saying that doesn't exist, I think is just going to be doing like a disservice to people in front of me. It's my job to help people that are sick and suffering, and I have to point them in the right direction to the best of my ability while respecting where they're coming from and where they're at. So if someone's in my office and they're not Christian, I won't tell them necessarily to pray or to go to church services. But on a platform like YouTube, and trying to help the community the best of my ability and reaching more people than on a one-on-one setting in my office, I do feel like I have to be sort of truthful and honest with what I know works and helps people. Now, I'm going to also tell you, people who are very sick, the medications only do so much. Therapy can only do so much. It often takes a whole community of support to help people that are really sick. And maybe the families are going to be sufficient. Maybe friends are sufficient, but maybe not. Maybe it takes a whole religious community. And if there's one thing I learned as a psychiatrist, and I'm sure many other psychiatrists out there will agree, is that the psychiatric medications have their limitations. The medications have its role, and medications can help people to calm down their thoughts, to help with their emotions, help with their behaviors. But a lot of these behavior changes, or a lot of these changes over time, are addressed through lifestyle changes or life circumstances changes. And there's such an important role in the spirituality involved with it. And as a psychiatrist, if I see that prayer and religion work and help people, I'd be doing a disservice by not using a platform like YouTube to educate people that prayer can help, or that going to church services or religious services can help, or that talking to the priest or pastor can help. Okay, one of the best ways to be sober, for example, are the Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. Those are the 12-step formula that deals with the higher power, that deals with God, that deals with prayer, that deals with religion. That's what that fellowship or community brings. It's like a religious or fellowship community that brings health and healing. It's just what works. I'll leave a link to a PDF of the 12-step process, which you can look at in more detail. There are some medications that we could prescribe for some addictions, like in particular for alcohol or for opioids, but many addictions out there we don't have medications for. And the medications, again, only do so much. It's really this community support, this fellowship, and this like belonging that brings about the long-lasting change that people need and are looking for. In regards to auditory hallucinations, which is the video that you commented, I'd said prayer can help auditory hallucinations because frankly, the medications that we have nowadays, one, oftentimes they're not that effective. And if they are effective, they have so many side effects. So much so that a lot of people won't take the medication, or they'll develop side effects that are with them permanently the rest of their life. So life can be really stressful or difficult at times, and religion and spirituality can help people cope with some of these stresses in everyday life. Actually, a large volume of the research, according to this research paper, suggests that people who are more religious and people who are more spiritual, religious meaning going to like religious worships like Bible studies or church services, versus spirituality is just sort of praying alone or basically doing it individual versus in a group setting. The people that are more religious and spiritual typically have better mental health and adapt more quickly to health problems than people who are less religious or less spiritual. And it's thought that this could actually change one's physiology perhaps, or affect their response to the treatment, and maybe also impact their risk of getting diseases. And so the majority of studies showed that the more religious and spiritual people were, the better their health is going to be. And we can see the response to treatment in a well-known scientific phenomenon called the placebo effect. And so much of what helps is just the relationship between the person and the clinician, or just the thought that the medication might help. As a psychiatrist, I don't need to pose my religion or my beliefs onto other people. I know other people have their own beliefs and religions. Although as a Christian, I do have a Christian perspective about illness and disease and how that can affect mental health. In fact, I recently had a commenter comment something similarly when they mentioned in Catholicism, communion is for the spiritually sick, whereas confession is for the spiritually dead, and mortal sin equals spiritual death. So it's essential to confess sins before taking communion. It's psychologically freeing as it restores one's wholeness with God. Being in sin is like being psychologically split or separated from God. In our Christian perspective, Christians are supposed to be united with God. And if we are separated from God, we're going to lose our peace. We're going to lose our sense of trust. We're going to lose our well-being. It's only through God that we get this peace, that we get this joy, that we get this comfort. And honestly, a lot of life can be very challenging, can be very frustrating. There can be a lot of suffering in life. And it can be hard to comprehend and to understand. And the Christian faith helps us to understand and cope with some of the things in life, which as humans, we just have limited knowledge and we're not going to be able to understand ourselves. I know for some people, it might be hard to accept at times. It might be frustrating because they may not see the results they want right away, but it's what we know and what we see works. And so it's just my job to offer the best treatment I can available, and the medications are only a small part of it. There's so much other part to health and healing.